Alright, what game are we gonna review today? How about we spin the old game wheel and find out? Woo! Alright, come on, Super Castlevania, Zelda, something good. Oh, no. Whew, alright, Tetris and Dr. Mario, I could do that one. Here we go. Tetris and Dr. Mario. Yes, in 1994, Nintendo went and did puzzle fans a solid by putting two of the most venerated falling block puzzle games together on one cartridge. But did they do a good job, or are we just getting a couple of sloppy ports? Well, let's start with Tetris. Do I need to explain Tetris to you? If I do, well, I have no clue how this video got recommended to you, but the gist of it is you have these falling blocks that pile up, and the only way to get rid of them and score points is to make them land and form complete rows, which subsequently disappear. Basically what you're seeing right now in front of you. The game was developed in 1985 in the Soviet Union, of all places, and it was such a song and dance to license the thing that a friggin' Apple TV movie was made about the whole debacle. Eventually, Nintendo got the console and handheld rights to it, and in a move no doubt ripped straight from Sun Tzu's Art of War, they bundled their newly released handheld, the Game Boy, with a copy of Tetris, decimating worldwide productivity in the process. So, with such a hot commodity, why not give it a new life on the Super Nintendo? And what kind of new life are we giving it here? Well, you may actually get deja vu if you've owned either the NES or Game Boy versions of Tetris, because this one brings everything over and there's a wee bit more. Yes, you get the A-type game, aka regular Tetris, as well as the B-type game, aka junked up Tetris. It appears to play exactly the same, at least from my amateur perspective. Versus mode is here in full force, including an option to play against a CPU opponent at different skill levels. And if you pick the hardest opponent and squint, you can pretend you're playing against Hitler. It doesn't bring much else to the plate though, which is a little unfortunate. I know they could have included a 4-player mode with the multi-tap if they really wanted to. Or maybe even that chaotic cooperative mode from the Tengen version for the NES. They could have done more is what I'm saying. Tetris has evolved quite a bit since its inception, and unfortunately, this iteration of it was not one that moved it forward very significantly. Oh well. Let's look at Dr. Mario now. So, Nintendo aren't dummies, and even though they owned the Tetris license for consoles and handhelds, they knew they could still ride the wave of puzzle game mania brought on by Tetris. So, naturally, what they did was make a game of their own and slap Mario onto it, and here we get Dr. Mario, first released for the NES and Game Boy in 1990. Dr. Mario is a bit different than Tetris in that the goal isn't merely to stack and clear blocks, but rather to use multicolored pills to clear viruses from the screen. The viruses come in 3 colors, red, blue, and yellow, and they're just adorable. But don't let that stop you from knocking them on their asses by lining them up with pills of matching colors. If you've just been playing Tetris and decide to switch over to Dr. Mario, you'll notice that it's a bit more of a complex game, and your brain is going to be working just a wee bit harder to process all the little extra things, like how you can clear rows both vertically and horizontally, and how pills are subject to gravity even after they're placed and can tumble down when their other half gets cleared. This can lead to combos and also some, yeah, I totally meant to do that, moments like this. And to be honest, I do kind of like this game a little bit more than Tetris. But, similar to its cart mate, this version doesn't change much of anything either. You could still adjust the amount of viruses on screen, as well as the pill drop speed to ensure you're sufficiently challenged. You can still do head-to-head with another player, and this version does add the option of playing against a CPU. But yeah, same criticism applies here. I would have liked a bit more than just bare-bones Dr. Mario. Shake things up a bit, add extra challenges, make replicating viruses, or shake the jar and reshuffle their positions, or introduce a co-op mode, or, ooh, level designer, exploding pills! I don't know, maybe I'm being a spoiled modern gamer. There are 2 great games here, and to take advantage of both of them being on the same cart, there is the inclusion of a mixed mode that is exactly what you think it is. A game that switches between both games, which is fine, I guess. You know, not as cool as exploding pills, but yeah, if I were to sum up the gameplay of Tetris and Dr. Mario, I would say it's as excellent as the sum of both its excellent parts, but no more. So now we can talk about graphics, and I can finally say what I've been holding in this entire video thus far. Heavens to Betsy, this one is not winning any beauty contests. Like, come on guys, moving an 8-bit game to the Super Nintendo comes with the expectation of a graphical upgrade, especially after the brilliance of Super Mario All-Stars, which came out just the previous year. We want to see that 16-bit shit. Instead we get 16-bit shit. I mean, are you seeing these backgrounds? Did they design them on Mario Paint? And admit it, even the title screen had you going when you saw it at the beginning of this video. If we look at the individual games, the graphics in Tetris are okay, I guess, but for Dr. Mario, I actually prefer the flatter look of the NES original. The personality and charm of the viruses are kind of obscured behind this shiny glass effect they've got going on here. So I'm not bananas about the graphics. How's the music? Well, you get the same songs from the previous games, and they range from okay to pretty rough. Tetris gives you the 3 songs from the Game Boy version, and if you're wondering, this is what they did to the classic theme. And I wouldn't recommend picking the 3rd song because, in my opinion, Harpsichord is bearable for no more than 3 minutes. Okay, that's enough. Unfortunately, Dr. Mario is the biggest offender here with the exact same 2 tracks from the original, Fever and Chill, and nothing more. Chill in particular is a horrible mess that sounds like a dial-up modem. This is especially tragic since the gameplay of Dr. Mario can result in some pretty long sessions, and regardless of which of the 2 songs you pick, after the first 30 minutes you will lament not picking off. Really too bad here, because surely this would have been the easiest way to build on the originals, but oh well. Value! Probably the most pertinent category when it comes to this game. Should you go and pick up this cart? All things considered, I would say yes. I mean, there are about a million other ways to play these 2 games, but it's not super expensive to pick up this twofer. And whining aside, these really are fantastic games. Arguably the 2 best puzzle games in the Nintendo library. And it's not like you're short on options when it comes to puzzle games on the SNES. I mean, you got Yoshi's Cookie, Wario's Woods, Kirby's Avalanche, Luigi's Colonoscopy, or whatever, none of which are as good as either of the games on this compilation. So, when we break it all down, Tetris and Dr. Mario for the Super Nintendo gets a 6.6 out of 10. 2 legendary games with grimace-inducing music and a garish coat of paint thrown on top. But 2 legendary games nonetheless. Have fun.
Game.